Maya's reflex was to retreat, but Lila's delight swept them both in front of the lens. There were no poses. Maya's eyes slid away. A wisp of her hair fluttered across her cheek, her guarded expression half hidden by the shadow of her hoodie. Only 2 swift clicks. A polite thank you. And then Reed was another face lost in the day's churn. For Maya, it was a footnote, a favor to her friend, forgotten as soon as it had happened. In the placid heart of Willow Creek, Maya Bennett grew up expertly eluding the world's gaze. For most of her 17 years, her defining trait was this knack for invisibility. Quiet in class, polite to teachers, easily passed over by the confident, camera-ready crowds that filled the halls of Willow Creek High. Maya's friends could count on one hand the times she allowed her photo to be taken, so fiercely private was she. Her mother once joked Maya fled home videos like a spy fleeing the scene. But the world's attention is a restless thing, and it sometimes lands not where it is summoned, but where it is least expected. On a wind-brushed spring weekend in 2005, Maya's best friend Lila managed to coax her out of her comfort zone, a rare coup. The girls slipped away from small-town routines for a birthday adventure in Portland, promising just a wander along the lively riverfront boardwalk, a few specialty teas, a handful of silly snapshots. For Maya, as always, the plan was to keep herself just out of frame. That afternoon, a street photographer named Reed Callahan was searching for more than faces. He sought stories told without words. His camera, an old battered Leica, found endless expressiveness in the candid, the unguarded. He stumbled upon the girls as they laughed beside a street musician, harmonizing with the current of the city. "Excuse me," he asked, lifting the camera with gentle deference. "Would you mind a portrait?" But Reed saw something else. He, like the lens, saw beneath the hoodie the shyness. He saw a contradiction. Strength woven in timidity. Beauty that refused to be performed. By the time Maya was back in Willow Creek, she had already become a muse, only she didn't know it yet. 3 weeks slipped by before the world found her. The photo appeared on Street Lens Journal, the caption seductively simple, "The most beautiful girl in the world?" It shouldn't have made ripples, a single black and white of a girl wrapped in uncertainty. But it struck something viral and wordless. Comments exploded. Emails from agents choked the site. Vogue wanted her. Gucci wanted her. But all anyone knew was her face. Back in Willow Creek, ordinary days turned briefly bizarre. People peered at Maya in the hallway, hushed and wide-eyed, after some tech-savvy junior found the blog and spread it like wildfire through the school. For Maya, it was surreal, being recognized for nothing she'd chosen, suddenly precious to a world she had never courted. When the phone calls found her, first to her home, then to her school office, she barely managed to keep her composure, her nerves a tremor beneath her calm. Most would have panicked. Maya, oddly, didn't. Maya's family adopted a slow, careful approach. Meetings and contracts, dozens of anxious phone calls about safety, trust, privacy. But the flood could not be stemmed. Within a single summer, Maya Bennett became the inscrutable new face of Celestia perfume, a global sensation, hailed by magazines on 3 continents as the icon for a new era of fashion. Her billboards stared down from Times Square. TV hosts discussed her mysterious allure. Designers praised her humility and authenticity, qualities that soon seemed almost as rare as beauty itself. But the more Maya was asked to reveal about herself, the more she realized how thin her own story seemed. Interviews asked about her childhood. Maya hesitated. Her memories began at 6, a jumble of Oregon daylight, a garden with red flowers, a solitary silvery balloon. Before that, nothing. School forms, hospital visits, family pictures all began around that time too. Her birth certificate looked too clean, too recent. Pushed by curiosity, Maya asked her parents for details, but their answers were inconsistent. "You were born in Washington," said her mother once, moving quickly to another topic. "We moved around," her father would chime. But to Maya, these words rang oddly practiced. It was only when Maya saw herself flicker across an old television screen, a black and white movie, late at night, in a Paris hotel room, that the quiet nagging sense of something larger snapped sharply into focus. The actress in the film, Lena Marlowe, seemed to watch the world through Maya's own eyes. She had Maya's angular cheekbones, the same gentle smile shadowed by uncertainty, the same left dimple. Maya stared until the credits rolled, Lena Marlowe's name frozen there, marking an end date for a career cut short by sudden vanishing. In the world of Hollywood myth, Lena's disappearance remained one of the few cold cases that no amount of gossip could solve. The world kept moving forward, runway shows in Milan, parties in Tokyo, magazine shoots under New York's glittering night. But the puzzle pieces in Maya's heart kept shifting. 1,000 rumors followed her. Distant relatives, adoptive parents, even whispers that she herself was Lena's daughter, shielded from the world under a new name. Journalists clung to the thread, digging at every shadow in her story. The most persistent among them, Dana Roswell, was not deterred by polite refusals or dead ends. Newspaper archives bore witness to Lena Marlowe's brief, brilliant flame, a starlet poised to become legend, until one morning in 1989, she vanished without a trace. Rumors whispered that she'd fled the public eye because she was pregnant, that someone powerful had helped her disappear. But none of it was ever substantiated. Now, Maya's own timeline came under scrutiny. Her adoption finalization in 1989, filed under partial seal, the birth mother's name, Lena Marlowe. Hospital records, school registrations, all surfaced, and it became impossible to deny. Maya had lived her entire life as the echo of a vanished Hollywood legend, a shadow cast by a story unfinished. That autumn, Maya traveled to Los Angeles for a charity gala, swept up in a current of fame she only half belonged to. At her table, next to luminaries from every quarter of the industry, she met Julian Kessler, director, historian, guardian of film lore. It took only a sidelong glance for recognition to dawn in his eyes, not of Maya herself, but of the woman she might mirror. At dessert, Kessler unfolded the last threads of the mystery. "You look exactly like someone I once knew," he confessed, sharing an image. Lena, radiant in a press photo, 1984. Maya compared their faces, saw the commonality. Kessler's stories painted Lena as a comet, burning too hot, forced from the firmament by secrets that ran too deep. Hollywood whispered about an untimely pregnancy. The father's identity was always elusive. But a sealed court record, pressed forward by Roswell's diligence, made two things undeniable. Lena had given birth, the daughter placed in adoption, the file sealed tight except for two cryptic initials where the father's name should have appeared. TC. The tabloids pounced, speculating as tabloids do. Forums conjured the names of every celebrity matching the letters. A superstar actor, a reclusive rock musician, a high-powered producer. Maya remained silent as the speculation swirled, acutely aware of how much of her supposed self had been manufactured for the world's consumption. More than ever, she felt like a character in someone else's script, bowing to cues she hadn't written. In quiet moments, Maya returned to the photograph Julian Kessler had shared. There, in the blurred background, stood a man in an impeccably cut gray suit, his face obscured but unmistakably focused on Lena, with an intensity Maya somehow recognized. In her gut, she felt the gravity of his presence, unanswered, unspoken, unfinished. The story had begun as the tale of an ordinary girl, unwillingly swept up in the bright, sometimes merciless lights of fame. But now, Maya understood. The truth was stranger, more tangled, and infinitely more intimate than the story the world thought they knew. She was the daughter of disappearance, the inheritor of a legend whose last chapter had never been written. And somewhere, in the folds of her unexpected new life, pieces of her past were still waiting to be uncovered. She knew, soon enough, she would meet the man in the photo. She would begin asking the questions no one yet dared to answer. The mystery that had always defined her, Half a lifetime spent just out of frame was finally, irrevocably, stepping into the light. And for the very first time, Maya Bennett would choose not invisibility, but visibility. The power to write not only her own future, but perhaps to finally solve the story of her own beginning.